again and welcome to Let's Talk. I am David Vandy, and today we have none other than Francis Musa Momoh, who is an archaeologist, attended the Fulbright College Cultural Studies, and now he's here in the United States as a Fulbright Scholar. And there's a lot we have to talk about with him, but for a Sierra Leonean to become an archaeologist, that is very interesting. And so we want to see what this young man is doing and why he decided to choose this trade. Welcome to Let's Talk, sir.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. I love the other name, Mada.
Yes.
Francis Mada Musa Momoh.
Yeah.
So were you named after your grandfather?
Yes. that's why Musa is my grandfather's name. So so the heritage aligns with that, So I there's a whole kind of idea about my birth, right? So when they gave birth to me, my mom and my father, they just felt that I was behaving like an old person in terms of intellect, in terms of the way I project issues. Being a child that was a radical in a way. So my grandfather was a full-blown radical.
Emerson would say in Creole, big man but picking kanda.
Yes, yeah. So there's a whole lot of story with my birth, with my mom. So my mom was having, I'm the last child. So before my mom gave birth to me, there were a lot of dreams and stuff that she was having. An old man appearing to her. So
and in normal case they will say it's your grandfather that came
coming back. Yeah. So basically, I'm reincarnated in a way. That's how.
And
that's
what
how
do you think about that?
And I farm and I live by that because all of the histories and the stories that they've told about my grandfather.
Your family and you live by it. That means you believed it.
I believe it.
That you're an old man that came back.
Yeah, because.
So do you believe in reincarnation?
Yes.
This one is interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Well, as you can see, that is my guess. We're going to make this really interesting. This is Let's Talk. Okay. Now, I know you've started telling me about your birth, but let's go a little bit into who is Francis Mada Musa Momoh. Just a little bit.
So yeah, the name has already spoken for itself. Mada basically means that this is a person that is imbibed, that embodies knowledge systems. That's why they call him Mada. So even in the Mende tradition, all paramount rulers, I don't call my rulers chiefs because I know it is colonialism that made them chiefs. So it was part of reducing their status. So I don't call even today in Sierra Leone, I don't call anybody a paramount chief. I call them paramount rulers, right? So that's why even if a kid is 6 years old and they made that kid a chief in a sense, that they call him Mada. Meaning he's young, the elders are smarter than him, but by value of the tradition, he's knowledgeable by that subject and the spiritual embodiment he has for him to become a paramount ruler.
So this is who you are.
Yes, that's what I've been.
Okay. When you sit down by yourself, do you actually get that feeling that I am kind of different? I have some kind of, should I call it spiritual? No. But let's take it back. I have some kind of old memory or some kind of intellect that the younger people don't have.
Yes. That is who I am. Because over time, my history has been, I went to school. So let me say, first of all, when I was a kid, I was basically smart in a way. So my mom always had leverage for me in doing certain things.
In America, they will say you're a genius.
Yes, with my elders. So, like for instance, I remember when there was the civil war in Sierra Leone and we came to Guinea as refugees. So as a kid, I was a small boy at the time, so I had to go to 2 schools. So I was going to the French school as a kid. I was like, if you translate that to Sierra Leone, like class 2, deuxième année, meaning like you are in class 2. That's what it means by in French, deuxième année, that like you're in class 2. So and my elders were in class 4 and class 5. So and I wanted to go to the Sierra Leone school that they had for the refugees. And we started having these problems with my mom and my elder sister. My elder sister that just that was elder sister Emma, and then so she wasn't like in class 4, class 5. So I told my mom that I will only go to that Sierra Leonean school if I'm in the same class with my elder sisters.
What a cheek.
Yeah, so
man.
yeah, so we started having that confusion in the family. So my mom and my sister, how can I be in the same class with you? Yeah, blah blah blah. Like, but I knew I knew all of what they were doing.
You were smart enough.
Yeah, to be there. So like, what my mom did now is say, okay, since your sister is in class 5, what do we do to make you somehow kind of happy? We'll put you in class 4. In class 4 in school.
So I was in class 2.
Yeah, so I was in class 2 in the French school, and I was in class 4 in the Sierra Leone school. Yeah, and I was basically like doing better there in the class 4. So when I came back to Sierra Leone, so I didn't go back to like class 3 again. So I just started in Sierra International. I started my class 4. Class 5, class 6, and then I took my MPSC and went to Christ in college.
But you know, if we look at that, I'll say that is cheating.
It's not cheating because they do it in other
from what you're
places.
saying, I know you were smart, but they did not give you double promotion.
Yeah, no,
you did not take the exams.
Yeah,
you just pushed your way. You bulldozed your way.
Yeah.
Are you a bully?
No, I wasn't a bully, but I knew.
But you were bullying your sister now. Even though you are the youngest.
Yeah, I did not bully her, but they knew that.
I would love your sister to see this one.
No,
you know,
and I've never talked about this. This is my first time I'm saying all of these kind of things.
Oh my God!
So I'm very happy, like talking to you. For me, I see this as this particular interview today as a part of like a reflection of my journey, the processes. I've been somebody that talk little out there. I do the work than talk. So today's
time to talk.
Yeah, today is a good time.
Now, you were in Fulbright College.
Yeah.
Cultural Studies.
Yeah.
Tell me about your time there.
Yeah, I think that space really shaped me a lot, right? Me coming from CKC, I'd always be somebody that look at history from a different perspective. Even from the way my teacher, I had a good teacher, Kelfala Kroma, who's a reverend in the Methodist Church. He was like you. Everybody that went to Christ Seeking College knew that we all go to class to him. But I knew over time that for me, all of what I was doing in my history classes from CKC is deconstructing the text, right? Looking at the text and then analyzing it deeply. So I from CKC in those at that little stage, I started looking at how can we say, or since I was in primary school, we take exams and they say who found Sierra Leone and we sign it as Pedro da Sintra, right? So for me, that itself is historically incorrect. But over time, that has been conditioned, right? So we still have it in MPSC. Kids go and take that exam and say, who discovered Sierra Leone? They say Pedro da Sintra. Everybody has gone through that. When Pedro da Sintra really did not discover Sierra Leone, he was one of the first person to map the area, right? So those are all concerns that I had. So it made me to really look at history from a different point of view. So when I came to African Studies, that also shaped me because I met people like Kwame Halston, where we were dealing with art history, history of West Africa, and so I had a different view about those things.
I'm also a product of African Studies, right?
Yeah, nobody goes to African Studies.
At some point, I was the president of the African Studies Student Association. So I actually did theater there. And did anthropology with Kwame Halston, Mr. Bryma, and others, and A.O.D. George, Raymond de Souza George. He was the director. But so, how did your interest in archaeology start?
Okay, so I would not say I had passion, because for me, I've seen that passion is an overrated thing for me. Because most times when you ask people about a subject, oh, I'm passionate about this, but they don't know the problem. So for me, it was problem was what dictated my passion. Right. So
break it down.
yeah, problem is what dictated my passion. So we all know this is it's simple. When you talk to people, you ask them, well, why are you doing this? Oh, I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this. But in 2 years' time, once they reach certain spaces, you don't see anything like that.
And you decided to delve into it because you want to solve the problem.
Yeah, so that's how I see everything that I do is dictated by a problem. So I understand that there is a challenge in the sector. So for me, first of all, I knew there was a challenge in historical education in Sierra Leone, you understand? Which also go beyond that. There's a challenge in archaeology, right? So and being a historian and also now being trained as an anthropologist in the Americanist tradition, where it's a holistic study of the human experience, which is the past and the present and across space and time. So if you're dealing with space and time, and then that means your analysis of issues has to be holistic. It has to be holistic. So I knew there was a challenge in archaeological education. So grow in that time, I started dealing with scholarly work with people from that I call Camo, which is Professor Arthur Abraham. May God bless his soul, right? Professor Arthur Abraham is one of Sierra Leone's profound historian and scholars. He was head of department at the University of Virginia and stuff. So he did a lot. So he had the stuff that he did in the 80s for UNESCO, right? And he talked about some of the challenges on heritage issues. And then so I'm just trying to make the point that I understood data, that there's a problem with data here. So if I knew that problem, then that means there is a Sierra Leonean that needs to take a step.
So have you been able to detect this problem? Have you found a solution?
Fine. So the solution is somebody needs to be a sacrificial lamb for Sierra Leone on heritage issues. So that's why, like, I presented myself, like, you see the why.
You know,
you understand that? I need to get this training. I need to get this training because there has never been an indigenous trained archaeologist in Sierra Leone.
And so how do you think what you're learning right now is going to be beneficial to the people of Sierra Leone?
It is going to be very, very beneficial because what anthropology or archaeology does is it takes history one step ahead, right? So first of all, let's understand what is history itself. History itself is confined within the periods of when writing was available.
Okay.
That's what history means. So that's why sometimes you have people say that
it's confined within the time when
writing was available. Yeah. So when writing is not available, it's called prehistory.
When writing was not available.
Yeah, it's called prehistory.
Prehistory.
Yeah.
And when writing was available,
it's history. So now
because it was written.
Yes. So now if you look at the initiation of writing systems in the world, it's about 3,000 years ago in Uruk, where now it's in Mesopotamia, where they call now modern day Iraq. Mm-hmm. That is where basically writing started with pictograph, right? With pictograph, you got what they call clay. They were representing quantities in terms of how many sheep or goat that I have in clay, representing it. So it becomes a pictograph. So that pictograph that became symbol. So they started writing. So that's how writing grew from Mesopotamia on ancient Kemet.
Okay. Now people in Sierra Leone will be looking at you and say, what is this guy talking about? And you say you want to tell them about what you do. Mm-hmm. You want to tell them that, hey, I'm an archaeologist. Hey, mm-hmm. I'm an anthropologist. Mm-hmm. Then somebody will come and ask you, what does anthropologists do? Let's say, to break down, for the simplest man to understand you, mm-hmm. You understand? Yeah. For them to say, to be in their, sitting in their living room, people sitting up in the province around the bonfire, and they want to teach their children what you are saying now. Because what you're saying is not for those people applying.
I understand that.
You understand?
Yeah.
It is for those who are learned, probably like you. But when you want to break it down for the layman to understand you, what can you tell them that being an anthropologist is?
So yes, that's before even receiving this training in the US, that has been one of my duties in Sierra Leone, like telling people, try to make anthropology or history to be not too sophisticated academically.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing. So for instance, if I talk about archaeology simply is trying to study human experience by the things they left behind. So for instance, if I want to talk about archaeology in Creole, basically now, like I want to know about you from the thing then where you don't left behind, where you something you know they against self hundreds of years ago. So I study you, through you material remains.
It's just like what is the legacy you left?
Yes, what you left. Like say for instance now you don't pass. There is what you call bioarchaeology. They deal like human remains. We can able dig the body and study that body. You be able to know what kill that person. You understand? You able to know the day where he died, the time where he died. If you not get data for say this man died so time. But with technologies like carbon dating, you understand, you be able to check age of certain things. So what archaeology does is excavation. So I can go na book, then I don't read na book say there was somebody did something great in Bo in this area, right? But how we not get anything for study beyond waiting and tell we no more say we na oral history, which makes like the history of Sierra Leone very confusing. To an extent that people will even tell you that Africa does not have a history. That's why they say it. Yeah, because
everything was just written down.
We don't have things. First of all, like if you go beyond things that are written in Sierra Leone, our history is dark. So that's why even when European construction of African history, they tell you that we are coming from a dark continent.
You see what you're saying. It begin to make a lot of sense. Well, not to say the begin. This has been in my head. All right. Even now, let's leave the history of the past.
Yeah.
Let's bring it to present day.
Yeah.
Like the war that happened in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
You can go back now. You cannot find any history of that war.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah, we have 2-3 footages on YouTube and all of this, but they don't even teach about it in schools. People have written books. It is not on the shelves of our schools and our colleges.
Yeah.
So, what would you expect the beginning of land?
So that's why you need to get public historians, right? Because public history basically is not like that traditional history where they just go learn a book and stuff. What public historians do is to take the kids to the real spaces. You understand? So like some of my activities I've been doing in Sierra Leone is taking the kids out of the classroom.
Okay.
Take them. So for instance, if I want to teach about transatlantic enslavement in Sierra Leone, I take these students to Bones Island. If I want to talk about abolition and freedom and early repatriation movements to the continent of Africa, I take them because Freetown itself is a living museum.
Yes, of course.
So I take them to landscapes in Freetown.
Take them to like
Cotton Tree. That's what I do. I take them there and give them thorough education there, because sometimes they can remember what I take them out in the field than the teacher teaching them history.
I had a meeting in New York with some people from Jamaica. They were Maroons, and I told them about St. John's Maroon in Sierra Leone, and I showed them the picture. They were amazed that was what their people did when they went to Africa. This is Let's Talk. We're gonna come right back with our guest, Francis Mada Musa Momoh. This man is interesting. When we come back, we're gonna be looking at how can a young man, instead of getting social, he decided to go dig and find out what in the underground and what you be done left behind. But we're going to come right back, so don't go away. This, it's Let's Talk. We broadcast on BSK TV network and also on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and be a part of the Vandy Christian Network also. God bless you. We'll be right back.
Hey, yeah. Why we not slave now we own country? Why? Foreigner self get same pass we. Yeah, we go left we country man in business. For support and put food now other money table. This blame game do so now. Now make we put we country interest for. Why we not like we say for? We don't know. Why we too hate we say for? We don't know. How we go develop ya oh. Mama. Why we know they think salo? We don't know. Make me bring big bucks salo. Yes, so we go fix this small country oh. Papa. I say yeah. Up there. Yeah. Up there. I say yeah. Up there. Yeah. Up there. Up there. Up there. Up there. Up there. Yo, yo. Up there. The work keep up bang bang. Up there. Hey, no small work go. Up there. The work keep up bang bang. Up there. Land of the Sierra Leone, there is no place like home. If we pray there, he go back for this country. Now we follow one another. You go be your brother's keeper. If we let we say we go fight for this country. Brothers, sisters, I don't know more we get. Where we all are fine. Hey, so take the hoe, take the shovel, take the book and mess up the problem. Take the culture, no neglect them. No call them and say forget them. I tell you never say what they are. Hey. What they are. I say yeah. What they are. Yeah. What they are.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am David Vandy and my guest is Francis Musa Momoh, who is an archaeologist, and he's telling us about history. Whether it is oral, whether it is whether it's the history of today, he knows it all. But he wants to share it with you. He wants to share it with the people of Sierra Leone. He wants to share it with the people of Africa and the people of the world. And so, Mr. Momoh.
Yeah.
Now let's look at you coming to the United States. So what actually brought you here?
Yes, it's a good thing. Like I said, I've been doing the work. It's just like when you say preparation meets opportunity. I've been doing a lot of work on heritage issues in Sierra Leone, right? Mm-hmm. So, I served as a research and development officer at the Monuments and Relics Commission, meaning I was key on a lot of research, monitoring and evaluation of heritage sites, served as project officer for the government of Sierra Leone on site conservation like Bones Island through the U.S. Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation, where they provided resources about $500,000. I was like Sierra Leone's project officer on that one with our partner World Monuments Fund. So we did that project, which really Bones Island is a connector to the US basically, because Bones Island is the only site in Africa where their enslaved Africans were brought directly to these shores. So people like the Gola Geechee people in southeastern United States still have that cultural retention of West Africa.
They still maintain it.
Yeah,
I went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
I was telling King Milan about it. He wants to go there to meet with these people, that they still use the same utensils we used in those days when we're back home. What we call the three fire stone. They use the mortar that we call mataudu. They still pound. They still use the fana to sift their rice and all this stuff. And they still do farming. They dress just like our people. You know. And that is interesting. Yeah. So they are not just like our people. They are people, right? Because
because those are some of the confusions in the history of black people in the United States, right? There's a whole lot of discourse around diaspora. To an extent, there are arguments among scholars that Africans who are now black in the United States did not have any cultural retention, meaning all of what they learned as what they call culture was on this soil, right? We takes out their embodiment of where they come from, right? So that's an argument like some of us are counteracting that it is not the case. These people came with a lot of knowledge system. First of all, they, like enslaved Africans from Sierra Leone, were brought here because they had knowledge system, which is rice growing. So that's how they brought rice growing to this space. So when enslaved Africans were brought from Sierra Leone, they had more higher prices than any other enslaved African coming from another region. So that's why our region itself that you call today Gambia, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia, was called the rice coast of West Africa. It was called the rice coast because the knowledge that they had in rice cultivation shaped the economy in the United States. So places like South Carolina became the richest of the 13 colonies in the United States. And whose work made that happen? Rice.
Slaves from Sierra Leone.
Yeah, rice.
But that's rice.
Yes.
Rice
so, and most of the Sierra Leoneans came here. So we had, if you look at percentage, we had more people here than any other enslaved castle in West Africa.
And you know, there was a time I went to the Virginia State Senate, and they begin to connect the relationship with Sierra Leone and Virginia, this state of Virginia, that we are so interconnected with Virginia, you will not even know until you begin to go back to the history that most of the slaves that were brought from Sierra Leone landed here, and they worked here, they helped to build here.
Yeah.
So with that, when you came, and are you just studying what the people did or how the people lived, or just tell me about what exactly you are doing that you're here?
So when I was in Sierra Leone, I interacted with one of the foremost archaeological scholars on West Africa, who is Christopher DeCoste, and he served as my advisor at Syracuse University. So, and he has done his master's and PhD on Sierra Leone while he was at UCLA, right? So, and he has served as Peace Corps in Sierra Leone in the 70s. So, he knows a lot about, he's interested, like, I would say he's Sierra Leonean in a way. You understand? Right? So he's been doing archaeology in there, and while I was as a volunteer at Monumental Relics Commission, he came there 1 year for field school to look at Bones Island. That's how we connected. And so he saw my work and how I was interested in heritage issues. So one day we were in the boats, moved from Bones Island coming over to Freetown, and then he had given me a Lacoste with a Syracuse logo, and we were in the water, and he said, that's like 2016, and he said, Francis, you might one day be at Syracuse University. And I just laughed about it.
And now you're there.
Yeah, so with all of this work that I've been doing over time, it's like just preparation, right? The part of return that people see today, that people of African descent are going to Sierra Leone and receive citizenship based on their history. I'm an architect also of that with the team at Monumental Relics Commission, where a lot of African Americans have come to Sierra Leone and have taught more African Americans about African, especially Sierra Leonean history. So that's how we've given over 500 citizenship to African Americans that have traced their DNA through African ancestry, with Dr. Gina Page, who their company has like the largest database of genetic DNAs for black people. So it's basically like a Pan-African company too, right? They talk to reconnect people to the motherland. So for me, I've been a connector. I've been a visionary that I've that are connected with my knowledge of African and Sierra Leonean history, and telling my brothers and sisters from the other side of the Atlantic to know that we have this rich history down on the ground in Sierra Leone, that Sierra Leone is open. You can come and connect with that history, which is part of your own history too.
And that is what you've been talking to them since you've been here.
Yeah.
But now I want to take you back a little bit down to Sierra Leone, talking about the monuments and relics. How interested are Sierra Leoneans in that aspect?
So I would say it's complex, right? It's complex. It's a two-way thing, because for, like I said, there has been a problem with our historical education, right? And we need to also understand that the colonial education have not done well for our history too, right? So and because of that, there are a lot of problems with how people accept their history and how they even interact with their culture and heritage. So let's say, for instance, I try to talk about masquerading traditions in Sierra Leone. Somebody who is a Muslim or a Christian will say it's a witchcraft, right? It's not. First of all, they've even denigrated it. They say not devil.
Not devil.
We don't have devils. We have masks. So even the word devil, who plays with the devil? Nobody plays with the devil. That's why even with our knowledge, all we see, we mask them when we run away from them. But we dance with them when we come here in carnivals. So you see how confused we are as a people, and ideologically,
and
historically.
When we see it with other people from other countries, we admire them.
Yeah. So this how confused I was. I always say we are in this level of double consciousness. You understand? We just confused. We don't even know what is ours or what's not ours. So sometimes you even ask people who ask, like, what is really Sierra Leonean?
So now let me ask you. I don't know if you practice religion, but what role has religion played in this thing that we're talking about?
It's counterproductive. You know, it's counterproductive for heritage, because you see, most times I would say some people talk about these issues from a religious background, but they lack grounded anthropological training, right? So they don't discuss some of these issues from a holistic perspective. So I tell you, this your mask is devil, but I give you no other explanation. And that's what Christianity also did, you understand, even with the transatlantic enslavement. Affirming, the church affirming, the early church like the Roman Catholic Church affirming through the paper bull enslavement of Africans. You understand that slaves should be humble to their slave masters. So you see how conditioning takes place, right? So there's a lot of problem, because the issue is you've been taught outside of your culture, and this is something as well we need to really take seriously in Sierra Leone in our education system. You don't teach people outside of their culture, because even education itself is cultural worldview. The way Americans are educated is not the way Sierra Leoneans are educated. Here, your education or any human life is historically contingent. It's historically contingent. What you've learned over time is what shapes your worldview about your condition and your place. So if you are educating people, there are people in Sierra Leone that know more about United States than Sierra Leone itself.
Sierra Leone, because we're not educating the people.
Yes, about their own space. They don't know their landscape. There are people that are in Sierra Leone. They only wear Africana when they get visa for Canada. They pack Africana inside one old box, but they don't get one old box of Africana in Sierra Leone.
They wouldn't can anyway.
Yeah, they wear them because let me tell you, why did they wear an aya? Because you know why did they wear an aya? The African American, when they meet Naya, it conscious pass them yonder. So the African Americans Naya, we know they wear no other clothes and they wear the African, because then they in search of their identity. We know your identity, and we foolish about your identity. Okay. So we play jokes with what's in really in our essence. People don't know, say, we culture and our essence. You can do any other technology, whatever, but once you miss your culture. So people don't even know you dey practice Islam. Islam is culturally contingent. If you dey wear tablik, you dey cover here, the head. We don't have dust, we don't have dunes in Sierra Leone, but you dey cover your head because you dey reflect a reflection of the Arabian culture.
We then in a desert.
Yeah, so you see how funny it is. The man they wear suits for going to church now, tropics.
Then we now.
Yeah, place where hot. Yeah, you understand? You don't wear. So to an extent, you wearing suit don't become a class struggle. So if you go see somebody not even intelligent, you can't wear clothes and say intelligent. Yeah, so it becomes a real class. So our challenge is that we don't know that all of which we do so in life, in the human life, it's so complex, it's entangled. It's entangled. So if you're not able to decipher all of these issues, you are just being in a space where you lack understanding of yourself. So my argument most times when I see with young people in Sierra Leone is educating them to understand first of all the culture, because sometimes we feel say some of the things that we do is new. Why do you know why we not be the fed too much now with villages? There were people that are not the fed because there was a structure traditionally for make peace reign. Because any palaver will happen, we are forced to start the palaver is the household. Now the household, because our paramount rulers, we are not idle for let any case come to them. The case when they come to them, if you don't pass 4 or 5 layers
before you reach to
so by the time they reach to them now,
the town chief,
the
section chief, that is what we come to.
So that's the same thing we do, but we dey go na court, and then we waste a lot of time in court. When the court na an adaptation of the traditional system, and they use that the same Europeanized court, but we are there wasting our time.
You know, it reminded me of Sembe Pierre. You know, there is a part in the Amistad, you know, when Sembe Pierre actually they teach the white lawyer the Mendic law, how for defeat the other lawyers them in the case. Because the white lawyer not be understand. So Sembe Pierre may get for put on a go on and teach her different things and how we own law they operate, and he used that to defeat the American lawyers. But you know, Mr. Momoh, this thing where we talk is very interesting. I'm glad the way we don't mix them with the English and Creole, you know. But one thing I want to ask you now: how can we make this relevant to the children now? We don't pass.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if we learn and save, we are on. We they go out.
Yeah.
But these children that are growing up, how we go pass on that kind of information here to them? Because you know, America is one country where they were not known for playing soccer, football, what they call football to we end there, right? But when they entered the 1994 World Cup, since that 10 day, people then begin become interested. Whether you get the Donovan, the Lalas, and all that one and they. So now what America don't do? They don't go World Cup. Then they fit to say because in America then they go once and more they go World Cup and go winner. But now what they don't do? They don't take football or soccer to the school. Starting from kindergarten, then they begin training them from there. You understand? Give them ball for play, and they are growing up with it. But we get all of this. We they talk to we don't big. We they forget for go down to the roots. So how we feel to say this can go down there and begin teach the Pekin, and from that point for let them go able to understand what exactly we talk about.
Yeah, that's very critical, because you see, if I dare so today, I talk to people them that Sierra Leone, and also even get one of the most coveted scholarships in the world, win a Fulbright Scholarship, right? Fulbright Scholarship, almost everybody wants in the world. So when I get a Fulbright Scholarship for can study, and I say I can study anthropology and they focus on historical archaeology, a lot of Sierra Leoneans are confused, you understand, about why friends or why you go study this thing and stuff. But I think for me, I admire some of the vision of the Fulbright, which is also for train countries outside of the US, the next leaders. You understand? Which for me is very pivotal, because if somebody will not to you family or not to your person respect you own, you for be serious about what you get to your country. You understand? Because if I'm here, it's because they see value in me, right? That's why I'm here. So most times we they forget we have talented people in our country. We have young people that work for train, for come up, but we not value them. We no, these are picking, not the way. But at the end of the day, when it comes up, the thing we miss, now they retrogress the country. So if we're not able to know that from a simple younger step.
You see what you talk, so make me, it just remind me of how entertainers are being treated in Sierra Leone. Those who are entertainers, these people, they don't think they make nothing.
That's another discourse. That's another thing.
Oh, that drop out, they
Yeah,
that
that's
this,
another
that
thing.
that. But when it's election time, they need them to come and propagate their message. Yeah. But when it's time for bring the entertainers, they come and help them grow. When they see young people and they start from nowhere, you understand? All of a sudden they just die out. You know, in America today, first term you dey play basketball and athlete. You shoot, you knock three and all this. Somebody they pass, you pick you up from the can go to NBA.
Yeah.
Now you have to go to school.
Yeah.
Are you great? They go up now. So you basketball skill for the go up. They all two they go to partners.
Yeah.
You know. Now I make most of if you look, you get plenty former very good footballers in Amin Salon. They cannot make it anywhere because of lack of education.
Yeah. Yeah.
And opportunities. So I make I bring this talk about going back to these children. Yeah. You know. Watching them for being young.
So, and like I'll say, there is no young person in Sierra Leone we not know or we not touch some amount of me work on heritage issues. So, like in 2016, 2017, where I did a Monumental Heritage Commission, we started what we call the school heritage clubs.
Okay.
So, in the school heritage club, one of the first things that we did in the commission was develop a school heritage club teaching manual. So in that teaching manual, we invested a lot, me also from research, invested a lot about how from the smallest units of the country, which is family, how people they train picking them with culture from family to the point of an exhibition stage, where now an economic component of creative industry. So we established, I was like the focal person teaching all around the country. We get 10 schools, heritage school club na Bo, McKinney, Freetown. We don't start those things but like some of the challenges like investment. You get to invest in this thing, because if you want to take heritage issues serious, first of all, heritage issues expensive. So you have to invest.
So now that you talk about investment, I can ask you one question, salient one. I know it is important. Some people don't will look at it say important. Or probably the people that already asked the question for, they're not going to look at it say important. Is the government interested? I'm not talking about this government, I'm just talking about every government officer. Are they actually interested? Because when you make I ask you this, talking about monuments and relics, talking about the museum, anytime I see the museum in a picture, it's like which have been left known. Anytime I see I see on a video, it's like which have been left. I think apart from Freetown, who's I get museum in a salon?
No, we not get any. So those are some of the things like so I think one of the things that we also very be conscious of is other places we don't do better on heritage issues. The grand norm is first of all the legislation we make heritage issues. You understand? So for instance, there has been a lot of obsolete laws on heritage issues, right? So get a walk around for get a new heritage bill up to now we're not able to get that out here, you understand? So, and all, like we say, talk about investment, when you say invest, and I want to make this statement too, this over dependence on external support for your own internal progress is an issue.
It's an issue, big time.
Yeah, it's an issue. We've seen some of the challenges, right? We've seen some of the challenges because every government priorities will not be the same over time. And if you become beggar for ages, you get it. We don't work na the development sector. You get what you call donor fatigue. Yes, sir. Donor fatigue. I cannot be giving you all the time.
All the time.
Yes, when you should be able to construct, put resources and develop the infrastructure, because the infrastructure is what's gonna pay for you. You understand? And pay and develop trainings for other people, then, so that you will get a full run heritage industry. So I think for me, like me coming here and learning this situation, I need for really go and be
This is
pushing
it.
this
Now you don't
discourse
now
about
you are here,
this.
You are learning all of this. But when you go back, what is there for you to go and make use of? The infrastructure is not there. Now I can ask about the interest. You understand? So when you go, with all which you don't learn, are you going to go back to that small office now? Relics Commission.
Yes. So
what you will they develop?
Yeah. So
from which you don't learn.
Fine. So
what
that's,
you will they put into practice?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Now me in a wheel, right? Are they in a space where I need for drive now this change? Because in that small office now, they have it on day and make so much change and make young people really interested in heritage. With me work, the students in Fulbright College, they create a ministry we then call Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Preservation at Fulbright College. Because of me work what they do and young people don't be there around me, I say Francis is opening our eyes. You understand?
So we have to create a movement.
Yeah, so that's it. So that's a movement, because you see one thing I tell you, see, not let we, even as a people, as Sierra Leoneans, let we left for depend on donor resources. We have a lot of diaspora, Sierra Leonean diaspora, right? Where we are able to get a heritage movement across the world. So people like Adenaya as an African, but all the time I'm supporting project them across the world in Africa. With where we get a group we call the Kwanda Village. Basically, Kwanda Village is made up of over 1,000 plus Africans across the world. We know what they do with that Kwanda Village. Every month, now $5 each person they give. You know how much we get in we base where they give project across. We the support project na Nigeria, farming project na Sierra Leone, na Ghana, na Tanzania. Not so money we get. Not so money we get. These are just people maybe not even sabi self. Only when months done, I give me $5 to just somebody where I trust, we engage with the project and work. You understand? Where we all serve as volunteers. We portfolio down there over $50,000. We dey call people at the village, you understand, for coming and stuff. So Sierra Leonean we deny. We get past how many thousand Sierra Leoneans? People go to Sierra Leone for just go chill in December. Can we say let we provide $10 anytime we go to a heritage fund at Sierra Leone? We are in you any side you dey, you go know say your contribution they make change. So if I want to go put money na Bible engrave, I don't need for go begin they go write Langa proposal and begin to give me 2 years, 3 months, or let them give me resources. When yes, where would they able get? Are they would able do and we launch and today we do we work. So we can even go put one small box na Bank of Sierra Leone or commercial bank, say anybody will put a Sierra Leone Heritage Fund. Where you go if you collect, if they send for you $100, your uncle send for you $100, where you take that $100, if I tell you, go you do up and day.
You're listening to us on BSK TV Network and also on the Vandy Christian Network. We broadcast on this television and on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. My guest today is Musa Momoh, and this great archaeologist, young man, But I tell you right now, they don't make it on Vex. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Due to special request and popular demand, the Jump and Kill must come. Back again with the remix. We come on a salon.
We come to England, oh yeah.
But we not run away.
We come for better.
We people that want for see wetin we dey do.
We people that want to know what we dey say. We like we salon. Oh now, yeah yeah. We like we salon.
We get we fine beach.
We get with sunshine. Oh,
We get fine bobo them.
whoa now. We get fine TT them. Whoa now.
We get we diamond, bauxite and kimberlite. Better day. Now for that make we tell you say.
We like we salon. We like we salon.
Mama Salon we like you.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk, and this is the final phase. So right now I'm going back to my guest, Francis Madam Musa Momoh, who is right here, and you've seen him, you've seen how well, I want to use the word passionate he is about what he's saying, but his passion always goes with the problem, because he looks at where the problem is, and that gives him the passion to go and find a solution. But Mr. Momoh, I want to come back to you. You know, earlier on, I said you are in the United States. So what actually are you doing? What brought you? What are you doing right now here?
Okay. So I was a recipient of the Fulbright Scholarship from the U.S. Government, which is, we have a U.S. embassy in Freetown, which serves as the Fulbright Commission there. So I had the scholarship, a full scholarship, and also with support from Syracuse University, the Maxwell School for Citizenship and Public Affairs, to come. That's why I came here. I got the scholarship from Freetown in 2023.
So this scholarship, is it for this archaeology that you're studying, and then?
Yes. So they gave me that funding. The U.S. government gave me that funding through the Fulbright Foreign Student Program to come do my archaeological study, because they saw that with my dossier and some of the things that I presented, they knew that I would be that face for Sierra Leone in terms of filling the gap for heritage conservation. So that's why I said, okay, I'm going to be studying anthropology, but I'm focused on historical archaeology, which is going to make me the first Sierra Leonean historical archaeologist to have that training.
So living Sierra Leone with all what you studied there, and the impact you've been making since you were the African Studies at Fulbright College, and coming to America. Now let's look at the difference there between what you were studying there and the impact that you were making, and the way when you talk to people here.
Yes, it's because one of the key goal of the Fulbright Scholarship is to create that cultural exchange, where you come to a different place and learn about the culture. So for me, it has been a fulfilling experience, because I'm exposed to how the American system works. I'm fully aware that now it's programming, you understand? You have to take action. You have to take action, even if it's the little things, you need to do it, right? So I've been exposed to throughout these 2 years, I've just been studying, writing papers, doing research, you understand? Going to field school so that I get practical training. I've never got the practical training when I was in Sierra Leone on archaeology, basically. So that's why it was even surprising for Sierra Leoneans to know that I'm coming to do archaeology, because
So
why
it
you
was,
gonna
just,
like
it was just writing and
yeah,
writing
so
and
I was
studying.
I just doing stuff there because of my research background. I'm a professional historian.
Don't we have the places there? Don't we have the landmarks where you can go and actually do some practical work?
Yeah, so that's how, like I told you, I met Professor Christopher DeCos, who is my advisor at Syracuse University. He's the chair of the department and he's the historical archaeologist. So when I was in Sierra Leone, I've been always following him on field school trips when he goes to Sierra Leone. So when he goes to do research on Bones Island, I was there doing this. So before even I came, we had a field school. I counted over, he always provoked me about it, I counted over 3,000 smoking pipes that we excavated from Bones Island.
From Bones Island?
Yes, smoking pipes, because that's what the white people were smoking all the time on Bones Island.
And what did you do with that?
So we had to document it because we had to interpret it.
That's
so
right.
because those are the remains of Bones Island. Because a lot of people don't know some of the things that entangled on Bones Island. So we have excavated a lot of materials. We knew with the data now that there were foodways there. What the food that the white people ate. Because most of these white people came there, they were just drinking and smoking. But because of the entanglement they had with the local chiefs and stuff, they started having black African women as the women on the island. So these women were cooking for them. So these were not enslaved. In context, they were married to these people.
these white
But you know, the white people will not call them they call them mistresses. You understand? But these women were there and they were performing that role and also working with political alliances, because chiefs were giving these ladies to these white people to marry them, so that at the end of the day they will know what's happening in the slave dungeon, and then they'll report to their fathers, because the fathers were collecting taxes to the white people on the stuff that they were running on Bones Island. So you see how entangled that relationship is. So it's not like they just came there and started taking people and enslaving them, right? There was a complex, because slavery did not just start in Sierra Leone, it was an Atlantic contact. They were coming there to trade. They respected the people. They respected the local agency and local autonomy of the people. If a white man does something on the island that goes against the law of the land, you are going to be held responsible for it. And they were paying taxes to these spaces. And so for me now, some of my research interest on this island is about gender issues. What role women played on this space, right? What were the resistance issues? Because sometimes most of the books they just make us like we not be humble slave then. The joker number they can't take me. But that was a lie on Bones Island. People were resisting.
Okay.
Yeah, there are black people that even fought about it. There are black Africans in that place that even killed white people based on something that was done to them. So I'm looking at all of these complex issues. So for instance, my thesis for my master's, I'm dealing with Sierra Leone and the path of return, which deals with Sierra Leone and its historical diaspora connections across the world.
Okay.
So that's my subject. So I'm looking at the culture in the US, culture in Trinidad and Tobago, how Sierra Leoneans moved into these spaces. Because for instance, Trinidad and Tobago, we had indentured servants that came from Sierra Leone in the 1800s after slavery to come and labor there, because they had written to the governor of Sierra Leone that they want people to come work in the plantations in Trinidad. So you have those Sierra Leoneans there. So in that place they have Sierra Leone Road in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, sir. So I've made visits to that place.
Okay.
I've been there, look at it. They have place that they used to call Freetown, that these Sierra Leoneans came and settled. Yes, sir. So those are my research that I'm doing.
Well, that is, I'm sure people have learned a whole lot today. But you said something funny, and I want to touch on that. That when you were with what's his name?
Christopher DeCos.
Chris. He gave you a Syracuse University Lacoste t-shirt. And he said you would be in Syracuse someday. And you ended up being there.
Yes.
So how does that make you feel?
Yeah, so that is, I remember when I came to the US, I did my pre-academic studies because Fulbright give you all of these leverages to interact with other scholars, right? So in West Virginia, I lived with for a whole month with people from over 50 countries. So we were exchanging our ideas. Everybody, these are all leaders in their own domain, right? So when I came here, after completing that, when I was writing my report that I'm finished with my pre-academic and going to Syracuse, I wrote about that subject that I call it a full circle moment. It was a full circle moment for me. When I talked with Chris, I was laughing even when he mentioned that, because I was, how would I go to Syracuse? Under which level? You understand? I'm just sitting here in Sierra Leone River doing history research and stuff on Bones Island. But I'll tell you, Christopher DeCosta is a very good man, himself and his wife. He even went to the airport to take me, to bring me to the house.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. We love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
so
you're part of us all the time.
Holding it
and finally now, I want us to, we take a look at all of this. Your journey from Sierra Leone to the United States, and now you are going deep into this archaeology, anthropology, and you want to take what you have learned back to Sierra Leone. And when you look at Sierra Leone today, I don't know how interested the young people are, even in working for themselves. You understand? Working for themselves, working like you go now, you say, okay, I have this is what I have learned. Young people, come and join me and let's put this together. How interested do you think they are?
Yeah, because you see, one thing I'll say, I'm a visionary and a connector. I have a niche in Sierra Leone that I know of. There are young people that are even just waiting for my return. You understand? Because when I was there, I really led a movement of young people on heritage issues. So, for instance, I was there outside of my public servant work. I started leading what you call the Black Excellence Celebration in Sierra Leone before I left, which is like bringing culture to the grassroots. Because most times, for instance, I'm sitting here, everybody see Francis Momoh with this Sierra Leone and stuff, but I didn't make it. It was one tailor from Congo Maki that did it, but he does not get that respect. You understand? What you see now is Francis Momoh in this nice stuff. So what I do with the Black Excellence Celebration is reaching to these people that are doing the hard work. You understand? So we started giving awards to people, and my award is nobody votes for anybody.
It's just merit.
Yes, I sit down and analyze across the country, because I walk across the country. I go to chiefdom across the country. So I know real people that are doing some of these crafts. I've met them. I've sat with them on heritage issues to discuss their activities. I've been to heritage creative people in Sierra Leone that they still play this thing where they play band. We don't play band. We know band is brought to us. You need djembe drum. So that means the man they do all this creativity, you don't even get resources. So my engagement with these people have given me that sense of urgency to know that we need to reclaim Sierra Leone's identity. We need to reclaim Sierra Leone's purpose.
Let's start a movement.
Yeah. So that's what it is. So with that activities now that was there, when I was coming here, I knew Fulbright wanted me to make change, and I always tell them, thanks for giving me this opportunity. And I knew before I leave the US, I should have a legacy project as part of my Fulbright spirit. So right now I have started what I call the Momoh Center for African Life and Culture, which is a legacy project for me, which is I'm gonna use that as a medium to change the landscape. As I talk about heritage, talk about global African issues, how I can advocate to places like UNESCO that Africa is the birthplace of civilization, but we don't have, how many World Heritage sites do we have in Africa? Yeah, so that is in effect is a bias on UNESCO to us as African people. You understand? So all of these are things that we need to push, because we have the rich heritage. We are the progenitors of human civilization. So we need to get more heritage sites in Africa. So some of these things are some of the stuff I'm going to discuss with it.
Well,
so now I have a seminar coming up in Sierra Leone on the 22nd, which is going to talk about a student seminar that's talk about culture, education, ecotourism, and reparative justice.
So when are you going back to Sierra Leone?
So I'm going there anytime soon.
Anytime soon.
Anytime
But
soon. The seminar is happening.
The seminar is
happening in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And then I'm coordinating all of it with students there at Fulbright College. We are holding a grand seminar at Fulbright College, and we're looking at the Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs to be the keynote speaker on there. So if I'm there, I'm just gonna like lead the discussion, try to shape how heritage issues are really discussed, because around that time, this May is the year that the OAU was created. So May 25 is the African Liberation Day. You understand? So this seminar is going to happen around the time that African Liberation Day. So and I'm going to talk about stuff like reparative justice. Bring students in a system or panel to talk about heritage issues.
You know, this conversation will not end today. We still have to invite you, because there are certain things that we have to break down. Now we have given a roundup, a whole lot of different subjects of what you do and what your aims are, what your goal, what you're looking at, what you want to achieve. You know, and there is a Sierra Leonean anthropologist that is here, Dr. Fulbright Amadou, that I want you to meet also. You know, she's very, very good at what she does, and I think we have to organize that meeting. You understand? But so far, we will break it down here today. But I want you to remember that we have to invite you again, because this topic, sometimes we start some things and we don't have that continuity. But with something like this, we want the people to know about it. We want the young people to know, and those who are in authority that should take up that interest, should have that urge to say, what this thing concerns us. This thing will bring laurels to our country. It will open doors for our country. Let's invest in it. We have to make sure we push them to listen.
Yeah.
And at a time like this, we want you, wherever you are, to listen to this conversation. And if you can, invite the young man, talk to him, and let's see how we can push this forward. So once again, Mr. Momoh, I want to thank you very much. It has been a pleasure having you.
I'm so happy meeting you, the legend. You're a legend. I remember my first class at African Studies. When you go to African Studies, what Papa Ray will say, do you know David Vandy? He was a student here. So that's how I even knew your name, because they usually talk about it. And Charlie Afner was my former chairman at the Monument Heritage Commission. So he always talk about it. Say, Francis, you should meet this guy. He does this, he does that in the theater, blah blah blah. So he's always, because I call him father. He's always being that person.
That's right. But I know we will have more time for this. And with that said, I hope you've had a wonderful time with us today. This is Let's Talk, and we will be coming to you again anytime soon. With my guest today, Francis Mada Musa Momoh, I want to say thanks to all of our audience. But remember to always subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this video, and like. And you can also leave your comments on the comment section. I'm David Vandy. Have a wonderful day.